Hi friends, I'm Sharon Hutchinson, and today I'm here with a layout share from the work that I was able to get done at the Secret Not Secret Kit Club retreat in Fallbrook, California just a few weeks ago. I wanted to share these pages because I've been seeing work that's been done by the other people who attended, who all became such dear friends to me, and I just wanted to join in on that fun. So first I've got a traveler's notebook spread. This is only the second time I've worked in a traveler's notebook, so I found it really fun. One of the ladies there had put a little gift on my table of these pieces of 6x6 paper, and I found it so pretty I just was instantly inspired and wanted to create something with it. So I went for the traveler's notebook. I used some older these embellishments were from a Project Life kit, and some Doodlebug frills in black. Next I'm going to show you the ones that I did for the challenges and the classes that Christina gave us. This first one, His Sweet Girls, what she did was she gave us some tips with watercolors, and then we used the techniques that we learned. So first we did a baby wipe with watercolor in these areas here. Then we used some Nouveau mousse in this pretty coral. Let's see if you can see it better. We attached a little washi tape, and for some reason I picked up the wrong roll, so mine's a little bit different from the others. And then we stitched on these rows of sequins. Now I happen to have in my stuff this photo of my granddaughter wearing one of her dance costumes for Dance Picture Day, and she was wearing that same color of sequin, so I decided to bring that in. She had us use some copy paper to do some matting, and I really loved how that turned out, so I decided to bring the sequins down here onto some little stickers from the Chamel collection box of crayons. Then we were given the opportunity to try some coloring on some papers that Photoplay just came out with. And so I chose this little dog. I'd never worked with Copics before, but my table mate Janet was so sweet to loan me hers and kind of show me the ropes. So I tried to make this little dog look like my dog Phoebe. We had done a dice challenge where we had to shake different numbers and they corresponded to different items that we were going to use, and I can't remember everything I had to use. I know one of them was circles, and that's what made me decide to go with these pictures, because I knew I had these little old Doodlebug embellishments. One was sequins, one was something new, and I can't remember the rest, but all of these were from the little Doodlebug doggy collection. I can't remember the name. This was a challenge where we had to pull out a piece of background paper and some photos, or one photo, and then hand it to another person in the room. And so we only had a few seconds to grab something, and so I grabbed this out of my box of crayons kit that I had from Christina, passed it along, and then MK Gunn did a really beautiful job making this background, and she painted this gorgeous thing. It's kind of metallic for the title. Then it went to someone else and they added on the rest of the stuff, and I really loved how it turned out. These are just a couple pictures from our trip to Disneyland this summer with some family members, and there wasn't a real focus point, so I loved how they just brought in the little elements, the sunglasses and the hearts, and that was from Paradise Pier. This one, we were given a packet of goodies from Photoplay, some different papers, and we were instructed to make this little header by cutting the piece of paper on a diagonal. We put down the clouds and the stickers, and then she showed us how to take some acrylic paints, and they were really pretty colors that matched the collection. And in there I had a couple of metallic ones, which I think made it really fun to work with. So we practiced first on a card, and then we did it on our page by putting a few dots of the paint and then taking an old Walmart gift card and just dragging it across until we got this pretty matting. And so I found a photo that went with the colors of my daughter and some of her good friends that we had visited. And I love how that turned out. It was completely different from something that I would usually try, so that was really fun to have her help us experiment with that. This one, using that same collection, we were given some papers and shown how to tear different strips, and I like how everyone's page came out a little bit differently for this. I had these photos where I thought the colors might go, and that's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I seem to have colors that go with whatever's on the page, and so we tore about a dozen little strips and kind of curled them up and attached those. And then she had provided this really pretty cut file and some die cuts and a sticker sheet, and we made little tags and just placed it however we want. Some people had them going this way, and I just loved how it came out. One other challenge that we got from, I think it was from Christy, from Christy's Beautiful Life, she asked us to trade an embellishment with somebody at our table. And one of the ladies had received a little packet of fairies, and I knew that I had this Tinkerbell picture. I got this acrylic background from Sharon, the other Sharon that was there, and this cut file from the wall of cutouts of, cut files that Christina had provided so generously. And I just tried some more of the watercoloring that we had done. I put this on the glittery basil background. And there's still some things that I wish I would have changed about, but I like the bright colors. That was from our Disney trip. We also had a bag challenge, and we got a little lunch bag with 10 items in it. One was this gold trim here. We had this pretty leaf trim. We had a tag. It had red stripes on the back, but I decided to flip mine around. We had these rhinestones that I used in a couple places. We had a little frame. They were different colors. And we had these label stickers. And I remembered that I had seen a layout like this. It was a total scrap lift from somebody online, and I'm sorry that I don't know your name right now, but I'll put that on in the comments down below if I can find it. We had a wood veneer button, and it was painted red on the other side, or sort of orangey. So I grabbed some Dilutions paint and painted mine. I think that was everything. So pretty much, oh, and we have this little bag too. And I'm going to put some journaling in here about our little afternoon at the beach. And everything else that I used was from a box of crayons. I just had fussy cut those out of a sheet of pattern paper. One of the things that I did was I had saved up a couple of kits that I had received from Christina, knowing that I was going to be attending this. One of them was my Harry Potter kit, which I was really excited to work with. And then I received 2 more kits there, and I didn't make it through all of the 6 of them that I had brought, but I think I got a pretty good amount done. So first I was excited to work with my Harry Potter kit. This background paper is something, I think it's from 7 Gypsies, something that I'd had in my stash a really long time, probably 10 years. But I had thrown some extra papers in with the Harry Potter things, knowing I had a lot of pictures and I wanted to kind of stretch it. So I took a tag and I inked it with antique linen distress ink. These were some die cuts from the kit that she gave me. This wand here, and this title, which is up on foam tape. And then I added the enamel dots that she gave me, and these sequins are a mix that Janet Fritz had gifted to me at the event. That's my daughter with her wand and robes that on her most recent trip to Universal Studios. This is from a previous trip in Florida, and so almost everything on here was in the kit that I got from Christina. These die cuts for each of the houses, these antique metallic stars, and then some black puffy sticker enamel shapes. These die cuts, I felt like I wanted to kind of age them a little bit to go with how the photos were, so I used that antique linen on some of these white to get them a little bit more creamy. And then this was gray. I think it was the black soot. Anyway, I kind of messed it up, but I like how it turned out on this one. And then he's up on a little puffy dot. And then when I got home, I added this Hogwarts using my really, really old Quick Cuts tool and a little alphabet that I had. And these Bella stickers were also in the kit. That's my daughter when we first entered the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, how excited she was to finally see the train there. Okay, this one is part of a double page spread, so I'll kind of show you the individual halves. I used an embossing folder on some paper that Christina had put in the kit with these little golden stars, and then it says a little magic goes a long way. I don't know if you can see that, but when I got home I put some rub, metallic rub on there so you could kind of read what it says. My husband was just being really silly there where you get to try out the different wands, so I thought Ridiculous was a good title. This is some washi that Christina gave me, some that I brought, and a thing I like to do is use a little bit of gold thread and just twist it, so I kind of thought that that kind of gave like a wand sparks idea. This paper and this ribbon were part of the kit, and then this background is just an old paper that I had added to my kit. The other half of this double page spread is here, and that's me trying out, I believe this was Molly Weasley's wand. And so it's really simple, but here I used the stencil that she gave me with some of the Heidi Swap gold texture paste, and this cut file that she had given me in the kit, which I loved. Okay, another one for the Harry Potter kit. She gave me this beautiful background paper. She also gave us some stamps, and I found that this flag fit perfectly on the little tower that was part of the paper. So I added that flag and this owl stamp, and I used my Tim Holtz stamp platform, which I don't know how I lived without that. I was just terrible at stamping. This is a Dear Lizzie title that I had thrown into the kit. And some of the small papers, I believe this paper was one where it had a quadrant with 4 different the house colors, and so I tried to cut those up and use them in different places. And then these are some sequins that were given to me in a different kit, I think, and some more of the stars. This is a picture coming up of there's a little performance that they do. It's like a frog choir with members of the different houses from Hogwarts. And so I used this title that Christina had given me. I cut this out from a cut apart sheet, and then I added these different house flags. I had inked those also. And really old thickers. And this background paper is just something that I had thrown into my stash with the gray. Wanting to use up some of the older stuff, just kind of thinking that the scripty thing might work. Oh, and there's a little bit of washi right there. Going a different direction for Harry Potter, I knew I had this picture from when we went into the Honeyduke's shop. It's full of gorgeous candies, and it's all this pretty green, so I had thrown in this green parchment cardstock, which is probably about 20 years old. Someone gifted me, I can't remember who it was that gifted me this washi that I used on a couple pages. The rest of these little papers are from my Harry Potter kit. This is from a very, very old sticker sheet that I threw in there. And I used some Distress Oxides in, I can't remember, Cracked Pistachio, and I think this might be Worn Lipstick. Anyway, I got some cool oxidization there. I don't know if you can see that. And down here, and I was in a hurry to dry it, and I kind of melted one of these letters through a little shaker pocket. It's a very simple one with some sequins from Spiegelmom scraps that I've had for a little while, and just punched out some circles to kind of bring it a little white. Okay, then I switched over to my Cocoa Vanilla Boys Rule Kit. I did a couple of layouts with that, and I'm telling you, it's really hard to cut into that paper. I just love it so much. So here's a really simple layout of a couple of my boys, probably about 12 years ago. And this is a chipboard piece and a sticker from that kit and a little frame that I cut and some stars that Christina had put in the kit. Everything on here is from that kit. She makes it so easy to put a layout together. You just have everything you need. Then this is also from Cocoa Vanilla Boys Rule. It's a background paper that then has the stars printed on it, and then you get a cut file of the stars that you can layer over top or not as you choose. So I had a few more of those metal stars. I put the photo up on some foam squares, and I had thrown in this cork tag, and I actually received this hello stamp. I can't remember who it's from. One of the sponsors had given us. So I stamped hello with that new stamp here. I forgot to attach something there, but I will. Everything else is from that collection that Christina had sent to me. Then I switched over to my new collection, which was Maggie Holmes' Willow Lane from Crate Paper. And I was super excited to work with these. So the first one that I did, I pulled in one of those crepe paper, you get 4 of them and they're just a straight piece about so long. And I saw that it had a little give on the sides, and so I just fanned it out and used an old Doodlebug doily. There's a little bit of shimmer under here with some mixed media that I had added. I did just a little bit of blanket stitching. I just wanted to give it some texture. So I don't know if you can see that. Here and here. And fussy cut out a few birds. And then down at the bottom I've got 2 or 3 washies that I just tore. These were all ones that were gifted to me at the crop, which was really fun. Things just seem to fall into place. I love these little puffy animals and hearts from that collection. That's my granddaughter, one of her newborn pictures. She's about a year old now. Here's another picture of family using Willow Lane. And this one, let's see if you can see this better. This is a very pale background paper with this scallop cut into it that I had thrown in. It's a really old Sharon Sana from Creative Imaginations, and I wanted to try that one out with something. I thought it might work with the background papers. This kit was really fun. I had already purchased some 12 by 12 papers and a chipboard sheet and some stickers from Willow Lane online, and I had Christina make up a kit that was just embellishments to go with that. So she sent me some of these fringes, these acetate or clear stickers, some sequins to go with. This textured trim was from one of my table mates, Elizabeth, that was there. I pulled this out of my stash of just a few wood veneers that I'd brought, and I had some stickers. I have a lot of that collection left, but it is just the funnest thing to use. Okay, where did I go? Okay, the next one I did from Willow Lane, I used 2 pieces of the pattern paper, and I think what I did is I kind of finagled them back to back with a strip of navy cardstock right there for this picture of my grandson at age 1. These are the thickers that come with that Willow Lane collection, and I loved how they just went with the fun of this. I got this gold star ribbon in the collection. This little bag came from one of the exchange gifts that I received from somebody. Here's a little bit of the chipboard, and I'm probably going to put some journaling in here, but I haven't yet. And this paper, when I saw it, just made me want to try some stitching. It's not something that I do very often. So I asked Christina to send a little bit of floss with the kit, and she was very generous. She sent me 5 different colors. So I chose some to go with this one to kind of tie it together. And it didn't come out as good as I had hoped, but I really loved doing something different up there. Then I switched over to, I think it was my June kit, where I had asked for bright, colorful things to go with our Disney trip, because we knew that they were having the Pixar Fest and that there would be a lot of bright characters and everything. And as part of that collection, she sent me something that was just so perfect for these photos. This is from Box of Crayons, the stickers. Here's a French for my Willow Lane that I decided I wanted to bring over to here. These pictures are from a little visit to the Anaheim Packing House. It's a really upscale kind of a food court that's built inside of this old orange packing building that's in downtown Anaheim. And we spent some time down there, and it was really fun. I had an extra picture that I wanted to include, but it wasn't great or especially meaningful, so I just made a little flap and put it in there. Really old Heidi Swap stamp that I didn't do a great job with, but I'm going to leave it. This little stamp right here was from one of the stamps that I received as a gift, kind of a prize while I was there. It was all about food. And I'll put the name of that company that donated those. And then these pretty doilies were made by MK Gunn, and she made these out of caulking with some little fondant molds. They are so delicate, and she was really generous with those. She was my secret sister, and she spoiled me rotten. This little stamp up here came with this set too. So that's my husband with a giant rolled crepe. And then another one from Box of Crayons. I had this die cut that I received from Lynn, or cut file, and it had all these fun swirls, and it just made me think of the ears, and this kind of made me think of the Star Wars stuff, and it made me want to use these pictures of my grandson with some Star Wars Mickey ears that he was wearing around Tomorrowland. So I used this title from Dear Lizzie that just says awesome. Ears is from the thickers that came with Box of Crayons, and I put some Dilutions paint around the edges, not really sure what I was going to do with that. And then I put some on the background, and then they just kind of ended up creating a mat. So that's my youngest and her sister's child being really cute at Disneyland. Then I pulled out some different papers. These were just a few things that I had got from Felicity Jane. I think it was the Brooke collection. And maybe this was, I can't remember which paper this was. So I had a couple of tags, and I borrowed some fringe scissors from Patricia. I have to tell you, that's the funnest thing about being a retreat with such wonderful people. We got a lot of inspiration from each other, and we shared things, and we shared ideas. So I used one of my doilies from Christina, and then I had brought a little bit of trim that I was going to use on something else, and I ended up fringing some of the papers and adding in this white scallop trim, this peachy one, and then making a little rosette out of it here. And these are some of the sequins that I received while I was there from Spiegel Mom Scraps. That's Ella and her on her blessing day in a dress that I got for her, my granddaughter. Here's another granddaughter, and I, along with the kits that I got from Christina, I had brought a few collections that I just wanted to try to kill, and one of them was Cute Girl. I had just a few paper scraps. So Christina had brought me a hexagon punch she'd found for me, and I knew I had this picture of the unicorn, and that I threw it in with these papers. And this trim is some older trim from Dear Lizzie, and then that title is also from Dear Lizzie. Everything else, one thing that I had done before the crop, I was playing around with mixed media one day for one of our weekend crops, and I had some paper that had this embossing. I think I got it from Click Kits in a package one time. So I had sprayed it with some mists and some shimmer, silver shimmer, and created a background paper. So I cut hexagons out of that and just mixed them in with the other paper from Cute Girl, and I thought that one turned out really fun. Also from Cute Girl, this was the biggest piece from that collection that I had, but I did have some of the ephemera, so I used a big card under here for matting, this tie to love, a tag, another little card, some acetate and an acetate frame. Oh no, that's just cardstock, but an acetate floral, and then I had some enamel dots that I just threw on there. That's my daughter when she changed her hair for the first time. The first layout I did when I got there, I wanted to do this sketch that we had used in last month's Kit Club crop weekend, and so I had some papers to trim. These are all from Jen Hadfield's collection. I think it's called At Home. So I just had like 3 papers and the ephemera pack and these thickers. So I put those together with the doily. And then these are also some really old clips that I had. They're kind of distressed. And then I used a few sequins from the many sequin packs that I received as gifts and purchased and got in kits from Spiegel Mom that I just loved, and some doilies. And this is my daughter who has aspirations to be a baker. She's hoping to start a little business, and when she got back from being away from home for a while, Thanksgiving, one of the first things she did was bake us some pumpkin muffins, and her baking was so legendary and wonderful that we missed her tremendously for a year or so while she was away. So that's why I have this title at last, because she's back and we're so happy to have her there in the kitchen as well as with us. Anyway, I'm so grateful that you're willing to spend some time with me to see these layouts, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye!